Who would have thought that a Disney animated musical featuring not one but two princesses that would make a triumphant comeback at the box office? To this day, I'm still mind blown as to how this becomes such a phenomenon and still going strong that Disney has officially announced a sequel. Based on the famous Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale The Snow Queen, the story tells of two sister princesses, Anna and Elsa. The eldest, Elsa, has the strange powers of snow and ice which she accidentally struck Anna with. After altering Anna's memory so that she does not remember any of it, the once close sisters were separated for Elsa to learn to control her powers. With their relationship strained to the point where Elsa flees the kingdom of Arendelle when her powers were discovered, Anna must save her kingdom from eternal winter by regaining that lost bond they once had. By the time the film was released in November of 2013, my excitement for Disney animated films had cooled off over the time. No pun intended. Sure, there were some that I really liked, but there were others where I was indifferent to, and a couple that let's move on. For this, I was intrigued enough by the concept of two princesses as sisters, so I decided to go and check it out in theaters. When I first saw it, I thought it was the closest thing that made me feel like what a Disney film should be, but changed some of the elements that made it connect to a more contemporary audience. However, with a few more viewings, there were some major issues I started to have about how the story was told and the songs didn't have the same vibe as the ones in the 90s, but I still admire for what it wanted to do and how well it did with them. This is as close to a feminist film that Disney has ever done and is more than just casting two princesses in a starring role. It is their relationship as sisters that is the heart of the film and one that I found to be the most complex that I've ever seen by the studio. Anna feels abandoned by her big sister after Elsa shut herself away, so she feels lonely in her own castle and is desperate to create a human connection. Elsa feels fearful of her growing powers, and with her becoming queen of her kingdom, her emotions and self-esteem are shaky as she tries her best to control them. This does put more of a strain on their relationship as, while the two do care for each other, they both have different expectations as the palace gates open up to the public, Anna hoping for more human interactions and Elsa wishing to remain private. This is such a rare and fascinating portrait of two female characters in a film as it is, and even more so in an animated film that is made for children. They are without a doubt the best part of the film as they are what holds this film together, and if their relationship doesn't work, the whole thing will just fall apart. The whole setup, journey, and conclusion all come together in a satisfying way that they are two of the most intriguing characters in Disney history. However, because this is a Disney animated film with princesses, it seems that there is a rule that they must have two or three things: songs, a love interest, and if possible, a cute sidekick. And they do kinda get in the way of my full enjoyment of the film, but some of them do work and they work incredibly well. Take Olaf the Snowman for example. At first I thought I would get annoyed by him, but I've actually come to really liking him. His innocence is what makes him so charming, and he does have a sweetness to him that I can't help but feel really drawn to him. Not as lovable as Wall-E, but he's a good character. And for the songs, besides that one ultra popular song that everybody on the internet is using to score views on YouTube, I find them okay at best. They certainly are better than the previous attempts in that I don't find myself cringing at any of them with repeated viewings, but whether this is my nostalgia talking, I don't have the same zeal for them as I do with some from the Disney Renaissance era. They are good songs and they do help move the film along, but I don't know, they are harmless enough. Most of them. And for playing the bigger part of the film, as there are two princesses, there are two love interests, both of them for one girl. This actually sets up for the rest of the film that for a while one can guess what's going to happen because it does follow the same formula. To be honest, I wish that they actually left this out of the film completely, not because it is bad, but I feel that the film could still be strong enough without it. Part of that reason has to do with a twist that happens late in the film. Yes, I was taken by surprise and it is fine on its own, but after thinking about it and watching the film several times for clues leading up to that point, it now feels like it just comes out of left field. On the other hand, there wouldn't be that great twist on the theme of true love where it brought back to where it mattered in the first place, so this has become a bit of a double-edged sword for me. And finally, the animation. I am dropping this right now. So far, this is the best 3D animation film that Disney has done. Not only that, I would rank this up there with The Lion King, Tarzan, Fantasia, and Sleeping Beauty for having some of the best and imaginative animation that the studio has produced. The way that the snow and ice forms brings a sense of both fantasy and realism in showing both its beauty and dangers. And with some of the ways that the shots are being shown are just gorgeous to watch, that still blows me away. I don't think that I will ever figure out why this film becomes such a huge hit and continues to be so popular, because I certainly don't think that this is one of the great Disney films. But whether I think the movie deserves it or not is irrelevant. What happened happened, and the best way that I can do this film justice is say how I feel about it. It may not come close to the top of my favorite Disney animated films, but it is definitely one of Disney's better films. Most of my criticisms are more of the I wish they could have done this as opposed to they could have done better. What I consider to be bad is very few and hardly noticeable, that it does not hurt the film at all, as it does have some great moments with two wonderful leading characters. I may fall short of calling it a Disney classic, but I am happy that I have seen it, and it is one that certainly should not be missed.